If you think retirement boredom is not a real problem, talk to a few retirees after their first year out of the workforce. At first, retirement feels amazing. You wake up without an alarm clock. You drink coffee slowly. You finally have the freedom you worked decades to earn. Then something strange happens. After the novelty wears off, many retirees start asking themselves a quiet question: now what? Today I want to talk about something almost nobody prepares for: the retirement boredom trap. More importantly, I want to show you how to avoid it and how to turn retirement into one of the most fulfilling periods of your life. Let's start with the first surprise. The biggest shock in retirement is usually not financial. It is psychological. For decades, your job structured your life. Work gave you a schedule. It gave you responsibilities. It gave you daily interaction with people. It also gave you something deeper: identity. When someone asked what you did, you had a clear answer: teacher, manager, engineer, business owner. Then retirement happens, and that identity disappears almost overnight. At first, this feels wonderful. No meetings. No deadlines. No boss. But after a few months, many retirees begin to feel restless. The days start blending together. Morning coffee turns into late morning television. Afternoon becomes scrolling through the internet. This is how boredom slowly creeps into retirement. And boredom is not just annoying. It can be dangerous. Research consistently shows that retirees who lack meaningful activity face higher risks of depression, cognitive decline, and declining physical health. Your brain does not retire when you do. The brain thrives on challenge, learning, and engagement. When those things disappear, motivation fades. But here is the good news. The happiest retirees I know did not stop being active. They simply redirected their energy. Instead of working for a paycheck, they started working for purpose. Some volunteer in their communities. Others mentor younger people. Some start small businesses or creative projects they never had time for during their careers. The key insight is simple. Retirement should remove pressure, but it should not remove purpose. Another big factor in retirement boredom is lack of structure. Now I know what you might be thinking. After decades of work schedules, the last thing you want is another routine. But complete freedom often creates the opposite of happiness. When every day is wide open, it becomes easy to drift. The happiest retirees usually create a loose weekly structure. Maybe they volunteer a few mornings each week. Maybe they take classes or participate in clubs. Maybe they schedule regular social activities. Those small commitments create rhythm and something to look forward to. And speaking of social activity, this one is critical. Workplaces naturally provide daily interaction with other people. Once retirement removes that environment, social circles can shrink quickly. Loneliness becomes a real risk. That is why intentional social activity matters so much. Join clubs. Take classes. Volunteer. Participate in hobby groups. The activity itself matters less than the relationships it creates. Now let's talk about something else that fights retirement boredom very effectively: learning. Your brain loves learning new skills. Some retirees learn languages. Others study history, photography, or investing. Some learn musical instruments or creative arts. One retiree I met taught himself computer programming at age 72 just because he wanted to build a bird-watching app. His project kept his brain active and gave him a daily challenge. Another powerful boredom fighter is physical activity. Exercise improves mood, increases energy, and supports brain health. It does not have to be intense. Walking, swimming, cycling, gardening, or yoga can all work. One retiree I know joined a neighborhood walking group. What started as exercise turned into a daily social event full of conversation and laughter. Movement and social connection in one activity. And finally, hobbies. A good hobby gives you challenge, progress, and satisfaction. It creates small goals that keep your brain engaged. Woodworking, gardening, cooking, painting, writing, photography, the possibilities are endless. One former finance executive I know started baking bread after retirement. At first, the results were questionable. Today, he delivers fresh loaves to his neighbors every Sunday morning. He jokes that he accidentally created the most delicious social network in the neighborhood. Here is the truth about retirement. Money alone does not prevent boredom. I have seen retirees with millions struggle with empty days. I have also seen retirees with modest incomes live incredibly fulfilling lives. The difference is not money. The difference is intentional living. The happiest retirees design their time with purpose. So here is a simple exercise you can try. Imagine your ideal retirement week. Not a vacation week. A normal week. What activities fill your mornings? What social interactions happen during the week? What hobbies challenge your brain? What physical activities keep you moving? Once you design your week, boredom becomes much harder to fall into. Retirement is not the end of purpose. It is the beginning of a new kind of freedom. For decades you worked on someone else's schedule. Now you get to design your own life. And that might be the greatest opportunity retirement offers. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more insights on retirement, investing, and building a life that stays meaningful long after the paychecks stop. Visit us at retirementforbeginners.net.